Hi again, everybody. It is Victor from Playbook with your NFL Over Under review of Week 5, preview of Week 6, where we talk totals in the NFL. And let's get right down to the skinny from our Totals Tip Sheet newsletter. Of course, you know we are heading into the middle of the month of October. And of course, one of the biggest storylines in pro football now over the last year and a half has been low scoring. It happened again last week with 64% of all the games going under the total. There were 14 games played last week. Of course, four teams were off because of their bye. But in those 14 games, only five games went over the total. Nine of those 14 games ended up going under the total once again. So that's 5 weeks of NFL play thus far in the 2023 season. 4 out of 5 weeks low scoring, only one high scoring week as we get into week 6. Again, after 5 weeks, the year to date results in the NFL: 34 overs, 44 unders, with a low average of only 44.6 combined points per game. Again, we've covered this a couple of times. It's worth mentioning again, and that is the difference between the NFL early afternoon games and the late afternoon kickoffs. We are now, again, like I say, 5 weeks into the season, and NFL early kickoff games on Sunday. That's 1 o'clock Eastern or earlier. Yes, we are including the London games in our query. These games have gone 15 and 27 over under. That's 64% under the total, average of only 42.9 points per game. On the other hand, the NFL late afternoon games, you know, those games that start at 4:05 Eastern or later, have been extremely high scoring this season. They've gone 13 and 6 over under overall. That's 65% over the total. And in fact, these games have averaged a clean 50.0 points per game. That's your biggest breakdown thus far this season. The early Sunday games have gone under, the late Sunday games have indeed gone over the total. Now, let's run through your teams real quick here. There's only one, two, three. There's only four teams in the NFL that have gone over the total this season at a 65% or higher rate. Those five teams: number one, the Chicago Bears. The Bears are the only team in the NFL to go a perfect 5-0 to the over this season. Average points in Chicago games, a combined 54.4. Right behind Chicago, the Denver Broncos, 4-1 over under this season. Average Denver points per game 60.4. Next up, a surprising team at 3-1 overall on the season is the Arizona Cardinals with 48.8 combined points per game. Arizona's 5 games have gone 3-1 to the over. And finally, the only other team that's gone over in 65% or more of their games, the LA Chargers. They were off last week with a bye. They've gone 2-1 over under on the season. Now we go to the other side of the scale and we take a look at the under teams this far in the NFL. There's one, two, three, four, five, 7 teams who've already gone 1-4 over under on the season. That's one over, only four unders. These big time under the total 1-4 teams: Tennessee Titans, Las Vegas Raiders, Atlanta Falcons. Two teams from the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Giants have gone 1-4, and so have the New England Patriots. And finally, that brings you to the king of the under, and that would be the New Orleans Saints this year. All five New Orleans games have gone under the total this season. And not only that, but dating back to last year, New Orleans' last 15 games, one over, 14 unders. The king of the under this year, again, has been the New Orleans Saints. For your free play this week, We're going to go to one of those late afternoon games that we've been telling you about that have been pretty high scoring. And we're going to be going over the total in the New York Jets Philadelphia Eagles late afternoon game. A Jets over, is that what we just said? It absolutely is. We've got a nice low over underline of 41 or less. In fact, if you can find a 40 and a half, that's your target, 40 and a half or less. And then we'll be going over the total for your free play as the Eagles take on the New York Jets in one of those late afternoon starts. That's your free play for week 6. Let's get back to the Mark Lawrence Against the Spread podcast. Best of luck, and then we'll talk to you next week in week 7.